Hey, hello everybody. Hey, yo, oh my God. Oh, we are back. We are hooping with Christy and Debbie right here on the Her Hoop Stats Podcast Network. I am Christy Winter Scott, joined by the esteemed Naismith Hall of Famer,
Woo!
Antonelli. Wow. Wow.
Christy, what an experience. So fun, very humbling. I'm so glad my family, minus Patrick, he had practice, but everybody could be there. My parents, my sisters, my nieces, nephews. It was really a fun weekend. A lot of my friends, some colleagues. It was really great. Really, really fun to be there. And it was great to be in with that class and to be around that kind of class of people, too.
Oh my gosh. First of all, you did a great job of holding that information to the chest because I didn't know. And then I'm like, oh my God, Debbie's going in. And I was like freaking out. That was, I mean,
Yeah.
you're the most humble soul, number one.
Well,
Okay.
thank you.
And for you to be up there, I can't even tell you how hard I was smiling. I mean, my face was
Oh,
hurting and I was beaming watching you up there. First of all, dress immaculate. Oh, and your delivery was seamless. Oh my gosh, you were so beautiful. And I was beaming. My face was sore from smiling at you. I mean, what a magnificent moment. And it's like Michael Jordan sitting in there, Larry Bird, like all the
yeah.
people. And it was, I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about what that must have felt like for you to look out and see all those people. What did that feel like?
Well, first of all, shout out to my sisters who were definitely involved in every aspect from head to toe on what I was doing, what I was wearing, how I was presenting. They were 100% in. My niece was involved. I'm like, I'm on TV, guys. I do stuff by myself. But they needed to interject themselves, which is fine. I needed it. It's fine. I loved it. They picked out the dresses. They did the whole thing. Um, I will say this, like, you know, Magic and Bird and MJ and Dr. J, it's like those guys don't always come and they all had purposes for being there. MJ for the North Carolina guys, Magic for Michael Cooper, who I had a really great conversation with. And Larry was there for Mr. Simon, with Pacers Sports and Entertainment. So
Yeah.
I did include Mr. Simon in my speech because I am so grateful for the way he stuck with it when he could have let the WNBA and the Indiana Fever go. We did have 2 and maybe 3 times where the franchise could have disappeared, but Tamika saved us. So,
Yeah.
and winning saved. And anyway, I'm just grateful to Mr. Simon. I think he's the longest running owner of a WNBA team. So it's been great. But I will say this. People ask you, hidden talent or a special quality or something that you have. I always used to say my special talent was
Shoot.
that I can play the trumpet and play anybody's fight song. So if you need a fight song, send it to me. I'll play it back. It won't be great, but it will be a fight song on the trumpet.
I
The
need
other thing that I'm really proud of is in grad school, I wrote my thesis in grad school without going to the library before the internet.
Come
So
on.
that's crafty, creative, and a really good thesis. If anybody wants to know more detail on that, that's a whole story.
I do.
And,
Okay.
and then I'm going to say that Michael Jordan kissed me on the cheek, and it's going to turn out that I made out with Michael Jordan. That's going to be my special talent, my secret unknown fact. Is that I made out with Michael Jordan at Naismith.
I love it. I love it. And Michael Cooper said that he won up Michael Jordan because he got cut twice. I thought
Yes, exactly.
that was brilliant.
So good. So good.
So awesome. Oh my gosh. When you, after the fact, right? And you're kind of in all of the mix as you see here, it's just so beautiful. Wow. Look.
And then you see Frankie, Christy. I mean, that's,
Oh, look at
Frankie is
oh,
such a magnet for attention and for people interested in meeting him because he's such a fun kid and so cool. And Michael had a nice little, he spoke to Frankie, took pictures with Frankie, and he was on, this is an entourage trying to push him out the door, and he stopped to speak
Oh,
to us, which was great.
how sweet. Oh, right on the face. How long did it take you to wash that spot?
I just kept pointing to it all night at the bar.
I love it. As MJ. Oh my God. What a great night. I mean, just for your family, like what were some of the comments from your family that were there, like after the fact, like at the dinner afterwards and things like that?
You know, when you're at an event like that, you know, you don't get to spend as much time with your family as you'd like. You have a lot of obligations. So I didn't get to spend the kind of time with my parents and my nieces and nephews and my, you know, Patrick couldn't go. He had practice. Louisville's practicing and he couldn't make it. But, you know, with Joey and Frankie and all my nieces and nephews, it just, I think they, you know, being in that room with that greatness is what they first think about because, you know, and then Frankie is a really good NBA 2K player, and he makes his own team. And I swear I'm not lying. Every team has Artis Gilmore on it. He loves Artis Gilmore. I don't know what it is about Artis Gilmore on PlayStation, but I did see Mr. Gilmore, and I did tell him that, and I did get to take a picture with him, and I sent it to Frankie immediately. And Frankie was looking for Artis Gilmore.
You trying to find him.
We couldn't find him, but I did find him later on. And I don't know. I just think the whole thing is just, it's amazing. The class that went in is exceptional. And to receive the awards with my friends, Joanne Scott and J.A. Adonde, who are true professionals at what they do. And then NBA inside stuff. So my friend Summer Sanders is a part of that. That was exceptional. And then I didn't know the history of Slam magazine, but the gentleman, Dennis Page, who created Slam and did that, it was really interesting to listen to him about where it came from and the history there. It was really amazing the whole night. And then the class was exceptional. The speeches were great. And then Simone Augustus, I have to send a shout out to Simone. What she did was unheard of and unique and so creative that the next day I immediately texted some of our bosses at ESPN and said, hey, I don't know if you need somebody to narrate something or create something leading into basketball season, but you need to hook up with Simone because she was amazing. And I think that's what we do. I'm listening to her and immediately I'm thinking, oh, she's got to narrate or we got to produce something around. It was just really, really well done. Really amazing.
Oh, it was beautiful. And she just delivered it effortlessly too. I mean, so it was just an amazing night just for our basketball fans and, you know, just to see and hear all the stories and, you know, Doug Collins had all the stories and you know, it was really fun to know like the inner workings, right? And the passion and the details that go into each journey. To me, it was mesmerizing and I love watching it. And, you know, Grant Hill went in, you know, with inside stuff. He already went in years back for his basketball prowess, but, you know, to see him sitting up there, we went to the same high school, you know, so to see Grant up there, that was pretty amazing as well, because I watched inside stuff with Ahmad Rashad, all, you know, coming through high school. And then for him to be on that show and then go in the hall for that show was pretty amazing for our Reston community as well. Yeah. Like Seahawk people. But yeah, super fun. Super fun. Oh, and BMAC, our producer BMAC, he told us right ahead of the podcast that Deanna Nolan went into the Athletics Hall of Fame. So Tweety is a Hall of Famer too.
Tweety, we have so enjoyed our conversation with her. You could probably go back and look if somebody didn't get to hear it. It was amazing. Well, congratulations to her on the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. That's very cool.
Yeah. And there are some other kind of breaking Michigan news in our
Let's just forget the rest of the basketball landscape. We got plenty of time for that on another show. Jordo, our kid Jordo made his decision, Christy, and I know it wasn't easy, but you're going to unveil it right here. Let's do it. Let's go, Sparty.
Michigan State.
Let's go, Sparty.
I'm here for the dramatic, so I had on my little jacket.
Yes, I love it. I can't wait to go to a game with you, Christy. I might even paint my face.
Oh, let's do it. Listen, I'm going to tell you what. You have to be ready for my mom and myself. We sit there right behind the bench, you know, a couple rows up just so we can see everything. But we sit right behind the bench there, and we have a time. All the music, She indulges me, because I like to do like the little dance cam, selfie things and have a good little time. So when you come, you gotta be ready you can't sit there. We're not at a golf thing where you have to be quiet and still. This is a wiggly situation. So just preparing you.
I can't wait. I'm so happy for him. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Tom Izzo. Doug Wojcik on his staff is a friend of mine. I mean, I'm so grateful that we get to experience this together, like with our kids, right? I mean, Patrick at Louisville, he's not the same caliber athlete, but he has a similar passion that Jordan has. And those two boys would be fast friends. They'd be hooping it up together. They'd have a good time.
Absolutely. They need a podcast, Hoopin with.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll talk. I think that would be very cute.
I like that.
That would be very cute. Well, we've got to discuss that. But yeah, it was a tough decision. It came down to 3 schools. Virginia Tech and Maryland were the other 2. And, when you're 17, it's very tough. And you went through it as well, being recruited and everything and how that goes. And, with the kids too, just how do you want to navigate, and you don't want to tell them what to do. I didn't go to school where my parents went to school. You want them to be their own people, right? And, carve their own path. And I think that was what went into it. He is doing what he wants to do. And in turn, it's great for us because we want that for him. We want them to grow and be independent and choose their own path for them. And
happy, healthy, and included. That's what I want for all 3 of my boys. That doesn't mean I have to be included in what they're doing, but I want to make sure that they have happiness and they're healthy. Yeah. I can still stay involved in some of that, but being included in all the things that they do, like I was having a conversation with a parent about, I have never tracked my kids. I only Frankie I have a tracker on, and Frankie doesn't know it. So if he'll never listen to my podcast or our podcast. So he doesn't listen to my other podcast, but I have to have a tracker on him, obviously, for other reasons. But I'm not a big fan of that. Like they got to live and learn, figure it out. Trust. Don't be afraid. You're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. Just don't make the same mistake twice, and learn from it.
Absolutely. No, it's a wonderful time. We're excited. Senior year's about to start for high school, so he has that in front of him, and then off to East Lansing, which is exciting. And
isn't it great for you guys to get it over with? Like you're done with it.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd be at, Starbucks or something and like, where's he going? I'm like, I don't know, it's like, just like the randomness of that. And I know if I'm getting that, I know he's getting it, times 1,000. So, I think it was a relief for him to go through the process and go ahead and just make the decision. And it was really great. The community came out, his AAU coaches from when he was in elementary school, they were there, and it was so sweet to see them hugging, they tapped him on the back. And I just, just those kinds of full circle moments that happened that night in the lecture hall at South Lakes, and they had the backdrop for him. And, it was just really, really a sweet moment. So I hope he remembers all of that and all of the love from the community. His teachers were there. Right.
Right.
And it was in the evening. It was like 6:00, and teachers have long days, and they were like, hey, I've been waiting all week to hear where he's going to go. And, just the excitement of that, and parents of friends from elementary school, they were there like randomly. Right. But it was a very, very sweet day. And my mom got up. She was going to wear her green jacket into the press conference. And I said, Mom, I was like, you cannot wear the green.
You're going to ruin it.
You're going to give it away. And she goes, oh, okay. She was like, I'm going to wear my green jacket. I'm like, no, you can't do that.
Save it.
Had it in the bag. And then she took it out when he said, and she stood up and she said, I can put my jacket on now, so she was just in a joyful state. And it was so good. It was very cute day. So
yes.
Oh boy.
Good stuff.
Yeah, fun times. And I know, the WNBA Finals, it could be the championship game tonight. It could be the championship game for New York. The heroics of Sabrina Ionescu.
Wow.
And the passion. Okay, the shot was one thing, Debbie, right? But for me, I think it was her looking up at her family afterwards and getting overcome a little bit with emotion in her eyes there that showed me, like, when you have the passion, like you have the guts to take a shot and make a shot like that, like you have to have a high level of passion. So for her to respond with that emotion afterwards, it matched the moment for me.
Yeah.
And I thought it
I've
was
been wearing my Sabrinas all week, 2 weeks, two
those
straight weeks.
good.
I did on ESPN betting show. I did 3 weeks ago. I picked Minnesota to win it.
Okay.
And the reason why I picked Minnesota to win it was because this is before we even started the playoffs. Because the smart money was on Minnesota, the big money was on New York. So I thought from a betting standpoint, it'd be a nice play because of the way the line was at the time, the money and all that.
Right.
Because you remember Vegas was heavy favorites at the beginning of the season to three-peat.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I value and love is that assisted basket number, and 76.7 was the last time I looked, which could be a WNBA record. They move the ball. Yes. And if they move the ball and they get you in rotation and get you in closeouts and they can get to the first action to the second action, and Minnesota can get to the third action, and then late clock is Nafisa.
Yeah.
You got to make shots. And, that's what I think. It took some star power out of Breanna Stewart and Sabrina to win it.
Yeah.
These two teams are so talented. It's so great for the W to see the two best teams fighting it out, which I expect we will see a game 5. I'd be surprised if Minnesota did not win tonight, just because they're playing in a desperate situation with a lot of veterans that have been in this position before. Yeah. New York is also desperate, but on the back of your mind, I think because you've never won a championship and you know how good that environment is in New York, maybe in the back of their mind, I'm not saying they wouldn't compete to win, because I certainly believe they'd like to finish it.
For sure.
But if they don't, I think you got a little bailout. So you might mean you take a little risk. And if you take a little more risk, that means Minnesota's moving the ball. Yeah. So I'm going with Minnesota tonight. Okay. And then I for the good of the game and as a fan of the game, I'd love to see game 5 win it all, win or take it all,
Same. Yeah. I want to see a game 5 also. Yeah.
I just love it. I love the quality of play, the level of play. So good, so exciting, so great for the league, so good for the game. Mm-hmm. Those players, they're so talented. It's really fun.
So good. And I just think, for what you said, the offensive continuity and fluidity definitely in place, and the challenge of getting teams in rotation. Both of them want to do that, right? New York does that exceptionally well on that weak side. We discussed that on a couple podcasts ago. On that left side, they get that slip from the dunker spot, short corner. And I saw it again, in the last game. So that's just something that they love to do. They love to spread you out. They love to catch you sleeping, and hit you on the back door or hit you on a slip cut like that. But for me, I think it's going to come down to defense. I think, Jonquel Jones, her defense in the last game, in game 3, was amazing. And not just the block shots, right? I thought she did a great job moving her feet, walling up, boxing out, getting quality rebounds, and timely rebounds to close that game out too, right? And for as much as Sabrina did offensively to close it out with that dagger of a 3 from, heels on the logo, was insanely good. And Breanna Stewart was phenomenal all game. I mean, just ridiculous. 30, right? So she was phenomenal. But, the X factor to success, I thought, was the defensive energy and the stops that Jonquel Jones provided in that stretch. Or was it a 15-2 run that got them over the top, right? But I thought they had to get the stops. Obviously, they had buckets, but they had to get the stops first. And I thought she was a key component to that.
I think in every team, I think this sort of happens. Like you work so hard, you get the momentum and the run, you build that 15-point lead, and then you sort of subconsciously let up a little, and that's when New York got a couple of stops in a row, and then the momentum shifts, and then they get their run. When you get up 12, 14, you got to make that 12 or 14, 22, 24. You can't just like all of a sudden take a quick shot or somebody do something they don't usually do. That's out of rhythm of your team. That's It's really dangerous. I don't think Minnesota will let that happen again. I don't think this is going to be a game where it's going to be more than 2 or 3 possessions the whole game anyway. I don't see that happening. I just think they're so good, talented, and they're each going to make a run, but I don't see it being more than, 5, 6, 7 points difference, plus minus.
Yeah. And I know, it will be good. And, Cheryl Reeve after the game, she was like, I thought we played really well. Right. And, and I agreed with her, and the way they came out, Stewie said, we knew they were going to punch us in the mouth early and we just had to roll with the punches and get our momentum and get to business. Right. And I think, her passion in the huddle saying, we're not freaking losing this game. She used other words.
Yeah.
But like we're not. And I think, that's not an X or an O. Okay.
Right.
That's like all that grit and heart. And, and they needed that. They needed to hear that from her. Right?
I just think this is what the league is. This is who the league is, what we're seeing. Competitive, talented, high level, high volume of interest, high volume of excitement, anticipation. I hear, people are talking about the W. It's so good. I've always said the product is good.
Yeah.
This is just a good example of why. There's many teams that can play at this level, but I'm still going to throw out my whole, let's expand right now. If you got 100 million, let's do it. Let's put them all in one little conference over here. Let them play amongst themselves and play the other 12, but not have to play them 4 times.
Right.
And let that develop. Not saying a G League. They're still the WNBA. It's not the G League, but I don't know how many expansion drafts we're going to have if we keep sprinkling in all these new teams. Yeah. Let's just do it and build the infrastructure around it.
Jump in, dive in, and just do it that way. There's so many talented people who could play, right? And there's a place for everyone. There's
no diluting of the product. You could worry about diluting the product every year you add somebody if you really were concerned about that. I'm not really that concerned about it.
I'm not concerned.
And with all the new, with this generation of players that are coming in, like the rookie class that grew up watching these WNBA players, knowing what it would take and aspired to do so.
Yes.
It's another level. You got to be ready.
Yeah, you got to be ready for it. And I think both of these teams remaining are ready for this moment. Is amazing, packed arenas, right? Records in Minnesota, records in New York, right? With packing out the house of 19,000 respectively. So, I mean, I know it's gonna be a great game tonight. I don't know if I think New York is so hungry, and the way that they fought at the end of that game, Debbie, man, they might be able to do it tonight.
Yeah, I know it's going to come down to the end. I mean, last couple of possessions, it's going to be great. You've got to watch. You got to watch.
Must see TV. And I guess we could roll out now. I know you got your shades on.
I'm rolling down the highway.
Oh my God.
Not right now.
I'm sorry, ladies. I know I'm not supposed to jump on here, but I have to real quick before Debbie. I know our Curty Gowdy winner has to get back on the road. And before I ask this question, let me get right. Since we had over 200 comments on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, on all our social media, we have to know what's the difference between last call, nightcap, one more.
Yeah.
Well, there really is no right or wrong answer here, B-Mac. I want to know what the fan vote was. What do they think is the last?
Not one person gave an anscer. They all want to know from you what you think the difference is. It
depends on where I am and who I'm with.
I know that's right.
Right, Christy?
I'm going to do that. Get my hearts going.
Depends on who. If your last call could mean I'm getting the hell out of here, I'm done with you people, right? One more means, man, I'm having a heck of a time. I think I can go one more. And a nightcap could be, really, we got to go to bed. That's done. We're done. I mean, that's what that could be, right?
Okay. I don't
know.
I like it. Hey,
like that.
on Hall of Fame night, which one of the three were you
Ooh.
that night?
Ooh.
Ooh, I'm not telling.
Okay. I'm always saying. I know.
Well, hey, what happens in Soul Restaurant stays in Soul Restaurant.
Yeah, B-Mac. Hey, listen, B-Mac is the best. I mean, he's been with me every step of the way the last 5 years. I couldn't do any of this without B-Mac. Christy, you got a B-Mac love in your heart too, and we all love B-Mac is making his rounds, man. He's like the most popular guy everywhere we go now.
Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, we were just out. I was out in Vegas, and BMAC was producing our media days
Telling
out
you,
West Coast Conference, Mountain
I
West.
keep telling all these big shot kids that have all this money, I'm like, you need to work on your brand. You need a little branding help. You need some social media stuff. You need some graphics. You need some editing. What do you need?
Right?
B-Mac guy.
On
Hit
it.
me at BMac1435 on all social media platforms.
Hit him. Hit him. Hit him. Hit him.
All right.
I love
All right, listen, love y'all, but I got to keep rolling here.
All right, be safe, buckle in, and get to where you're going safely for us, please, Debs.
All right, thanks, guys. Love you.
Bye.
We'll see y'all next time.